Hi, I'm Jackie Stapleton, and you're watching ATOL TV, the place to expand your career and learn from experts. We are very excited to kick off our next interview series by taking a look into the world of an intelligence analyst. I know that's exciting, isn't it? We're going to discover how this ties in with what we know as auditors and conducting audits. So come on, keep watching so you can find out. In a previous life, Tessa worked as an intelligence analyst for the New Zealand Police. Tessa also has a national diploma in intelligence analysis gained through training at the Royal New Zealand Police College. Tessa is currently an insight specialist with Inland Revenue and remains extremely passionate about the analytical skills she learned while with the New Zealand Police, as they've been extremely useful in the job she's held since then. In this series, Tessa is going to share her passion and knowledge with the application of these analytical skills as part of conducting an audit. So, how did you become an intelligence analyst and what do you love about it?
Yeah, so at university, I studied criminology and psychology, and I did my honours degree in criminology. It was always a sort of lifelong interest in crime and justice ever since being really little. I loved crime shows and crime books, that kind of thing. But I never actually wanted to be a law enforcement officer. I wasn't interested in being a police officer or anything like that. So I kind of wanted to find a job where I could work in the criminal environment and help to improve outcomes for people. That was quite important too. But where I didn't have to work in the field and be out and about. So I guess the key things were really working in the criminal environment, having an impact on people's lives, and not working in the field, basically. And so that's kind of where Intel came in. I got to the end of my honours degree, was starting to job hunt, and was focused on government and enforcement agencies. And I kind of stumbled across the Intel analyst roles with police. They seemed like they'd be a really perfect fit, and I actually had no idea they even existed before that. So it was a happy accident, really. I applied a few times and I didn't actually get the job straight off the bat. So I went and worked in the private sector for a few months. And with a bit of perseverance, I kept applying for different jobs, and I kind of pestered the hiring manager a little bit. And that paid off really well, and I got that job at Intel. And so one of the things that I really love about it the most, and I've always loved about it the most, is the freedom that it gives you to be nosy. You can just follow your instincts, and if something just seems interesting or unusual, you've kind of got that freedom to just go and investigate it and look a bit further. And that works really well for me. I'm really analytical. I'm really good at assessing things. I like asking questions. I'm quite a curious person by nature, and I like to make sense of lots of information. So it was kind of that, along with the crime side of things, that really got me interested. And that's what made me a really good fit for that job. That's definitely the highlight of it, really, is just the space and the freedom you've got to be nosy.
Yeah, I actually, I love that. There's two things you said there was you didn't even know the job existed. No. And I think that's very similar with auditing. It's not something that
Yeah.
you come out and go in high school and go, that's what I want to do.
Yep.
But it sort of just fits your natural personality. And I love how you said you can just be nosy.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you're so right. It wasn't an advertised career option. It really was just a happy accident. And the more you fall into it, you kind of find out about it, and then you find out about all these other roles. And I'm imagining auditing's quite similar, where you get into one little part of it and then it opens up a whole different world of options in it. So it's really quite cool.
Yeah. And I bet you find that in your normal day-to-day life, you're nosy as well.
All the time. All the time. I often say to my husband, I can't help it. I analyze things. That's what I do. I'm an analyst. All the time.
Yeah, I know, because I suppose what I do is more business related. And so as a customer, I know if I'm in a store or at, another business, I'm just like looking at what they're using, what their systems
Yeah.
are, and then I ask, why are you doing that? And sometimes I'm even tempted to pick things up and start reading them when I know I'm not allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't help it. I'm much the same. If I go out and I sort of, particularly crime stuff, I'll see a gang member on the street and I'm going, oh, what gang are they from? And oh, what are they doing? They're up to no good. It happens all the time.
I suppose that, yeah, that's true. It's a different perspective. I know
Yeah.
my youngest son, a heap of his mates have moved into this share house sort of near the city. And one of the girls, her dad is in the police force or something. And apparently he did a background check on the house. It
Yeah.
used to be a meth lab.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not a good start, is it?
Apparently years ago. So he's let her move in, so we'll see. But you can see how what you do sort of infiltrates everything, doesn't it?
I think so. And I think if you're working in a job or a role that really fits with your actual skill set and what you're good at, it's always going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it, really. And that's kind of the cool thing. Once you've found your fit, it'll work two ways. It'll be good for the job, but also good for your sort of personal life too.
I love that, Tessa. That's perfect. Thank you. Next formal question. Can you explain what intelligence analysis is in layman's terms so we all understand?
Right, so I'll try my best. So at a really high level, I would say that intel analysis is where you take singular individual pieces of information, you evaluate it for whether or not it's reliable and valid, and then you collate it all together, you analyze what it's telling you, whether or not there's any gaps in that or if there's anything that's the same or different, and then you kind of use that analysis to make recommendations about how we might stop a problem from happening again, or how we could just prevent it from happening in the first place. There's a couple of different types of intel analysis. So criminal intel, like what I did at police. We've got regulatory intel, which is a little bit more like what I'm doing at the moment. So places like tax or customs. And intel analysis can either be sort of reactive, so definitely in the law enforcement space, it's quite reactive. If something's happening, you've got to respond to it. But you can also have strategic intel as well, so where it's based more on longer term trends or maybe predicting what we think could have an impact on the environment in future. And it's quite important to remember that intel analysis is really different to business analysis, but those two things get confused a lot. So the difference really is that business analysts are kind of taking past data and interpreting the trends from the data and then using that to predict future business performance. Where intel is, we're also analyzing trends and things, but we're using a wider range of information, and we do it often based from inferences. So we take a lot of obscure information and analyze that and kind of make inferences around what we think it's telling us. But we do still use some actual data in that as well. And so the real aim of what we're doing is to make recommendations about future action, and the impact, or the purpose of that is to really influence decision making at the end.
Okay, influence decision making. Yeah. And you said something earlier on as well, which reminded me of corrective action. I'm sure Andrew does the same.
Yeah.
Because you said about preventing it from happening again, or preventing it from happening at all.
Yeah.
So you can see the similarities, can't you?
Oh, definitely. I think the sort of auditing focus around conformity is quite similar to making that prediction around how we could stop something happening, and so it is very similar. There's just a slight nuance to it, I think.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode in this series.